Jesus Christ, you people suck. Wow. Marine on it.
Back in the days when we played video games, it was hardcore for the nerdy and lazy. Now things have changed and all our video games are also for the casual and lady. But that's okay, you know the score. We told you a million times before. Playing consoles, not just games, is in the past. And every week you listen to the best damn internet radio crew. It's the N4G podcast. It's the N4G podcast.
Alright, it's time for another week. N4G Radio. Episode 614 for August 10th, 2020. And you all can go ahead and turn it off now. It's just me and Anthony.
They won't, but then they'll complain and say I should have taken your advice. We know we suck.
My point to this is, y'all should be yelling at them other motherfuckers that don't show up for the show.
Yeah.
Not me. Not Anthony. We show up. We talk about video games. Y'all are going to hate me a lot more this week anyway. I don't care.
Oh, good.
I've got a lot to say.
Alrighty.
I mean, it's been a week.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Why you gotta do that? Oh, God. Yeah, never mind. Replay the intro. Drew's here, too. Ain't this a bitch?
I'm here.
Well, it's good of you to join us, and thanks for letting me know you were coming. It's 2 minutes past the hour.
You didn't text me.
You always tell me no, so I figured I just wouldn't text you this week.
Well, sorry. I actually made it this week.
All right, well, good. Never mind. That was a very somber intro that is now a lot happier. So there you go.
Oh, well. I can't wait to
they've already
listen
turned
to
off.
it.
They've already turned off.
Oh, it's just these two idiots again.
Oh, we told them.
That's literally how I started the show. I was like, it's just me and Anthony, so you can shut it off.
No, it's not.
All right, well, Drew's here too.
Who's bringing up this picture again of me and Jay?
Last
and
week, man.
I know.
That was a lot longer ago than that.
That was 7/26/2020.
Yeah. Eeyore Clara cleaned out a folder and sent it to me via DM.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I threw it in there because I think we were talking about something. I was like, here, look at this picture. And I was like, oh my God. Anyway.
Well, there you go.
Video games. Well, Drew, I'll start with you.
Okay. I have one thing that I can bring up that is not Overwatch or the Phoenix Down game that we are playing.
Okay.
It's called The Tourist.
Oh, man. I like that game a lot.
I like that game a lot, but man, they could have done... Give me a shadow or something just so I can, gauge where my jumps are.
Have you made it to the boss where you have to... there's some platforms when you stand on them, they, float?
No, I have not.
Okay. Yeah, the platforming will really piss you off in that boss fight.
Wait, it's a boss fight?
Yeah, so when you go into those, when you go into the monuments, there's always that snake boss at the end of it.
Yeah. So I've done the one where, you step on a block and then other blocks light up and you got to hit those only.
Yeah, each one of the monuments are themed.
Yes, so I did that one, and that's where I stopped.
Okay, well, there's 4 total of those.
Okay.
And I think the last one is based on... Oh, no, go ahead.
The water one sucks.
The water one does suck, but the gravity one I thought sucked worse because I kept trying to land the block on the light, and I kept missing it because of my perspective. I didn't like that one.
So have you guys talked about The Tourist yet?
I talked about it last week, I think.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
I'm pretty sure John
made it.
was playing it too, so yeah, I think it was last week.
Yeah. That game
Gotcha.
is really good. I like that game.
It's neat. It's one of those, it's they don't explain anything.
No.
They just you show up on a boat and say, okay, I'll be here whenever you're done. And I just wander around. And I don't know. You start out with no money, and then you're like, oh, I could buy something that could help me, grapple onto some ledges. So I'd then go and try and find some money, and then you just go from there. It kind of just snowballs. It just keeps going and going and going.
I like these type of puzzle games. I'm not in love with the Tourist, but I don't hate it. There's moments where I'm like really enjoying myself, and then there's moments where I'm like, if this was more like punishing in the slightest, I would hate it.
It's kind of the beauty of the game is it's not punishing at all.
But it reminds me of like Reventure, which is another similar sort of game where it's like there's no real direction, but it's a puzzle game still. And I really like this new form of puzzle game where it's just you kind of naturally stumble into stuff, and it allows you to figure it out.
Wasn't the guy who quit making video games, Fez? Wasn't that Fez supposed to be like that?
Yeah, Fez is one of those games that sometimes the answer is like right in front of you, but you don't see it because you're not thinking fourth dimensionally or whatever.
Right. I mean, people love that game, but I just never. To be honest with you, it was one of those. I don't like the person that made this game, so I'm not going to play it out of spite.
Out of spite.
Yeah, and I was the same way with. Although I have to say, The Witness is fantastic, and I like it. I don't like that guy, Jonathan Blow.
He does not take criticism either. Not very well. Which is hilarious because he streams games and like critiques the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, dude. If you're gonna dish it, you're gonna be able to take it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I can't remember. It was either Phil Fish or Jonathan Blow. One of them. They were like doing a panel, and they were talking about like how do you feel about the state of like Japanese made video games? And they said aside from Dark Souls, we hate them. Yeah, it was Dark Souls. It's like aside from that, they suck. And everybody was like, "You're an idiot. You're a pretentious idiot." And I, for one, am glad that you don't make video games anymore.
Oh, he does, but he doesn't put his name all over them.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonathan Blow's so original that his next game is a remake of one of his other two games.
Yeah, great.
I mean, I don't want to be shitting on people, but like, let me rephrase. I don't want to be shitting on people today. Too tired for it, but I don't know. I feel like the attitudes of those people was weirdly connected to Indie Game the movie.
Yeah, almost everybody in that movie was kind of a dick.
The only person that I don't think is a dick in the slightest. Like, I think it goes, Phil Fish is probably the biggest dick, and right behind him is Jonathan Blow. Then there's a good couple steps, and Ed McMullen.
I mean, who that is?
Binding of Isaac.
Oh yeah, I don't like Binding of Isaac.
Former half of Team Meat, and then like Tommy from Team Meat, who is now Team Meat basically because it's just him. He seems like a super nice guy. So it's really odd though, because it's like those two are like Team Meat was not the main subject of that, and I don't know. It's like I think both Blow and Fish they realized.
Fish.
Yeah. They were kind of hyped up on one game. They made a good game. And it went right to their heads. And like, I'm not telling them that they made bad games. It's one of those things where it's like, you don't have the right to be like going around and trying to be Miyamoto to other people. But there's a bunch of indie devs that are like that.
I don't get that. It's like, come on, you made one game. Like, I loved Braid the first time I played it, and then I heard the guy talk, and I was like, you made like one game, dude.
Well, it's like one of the guys from Vlambeer. What have you made that allows you, like, Miyamoto doesn't go out there and start just think of the people that have made some of the best games ever. Generally, most of them aren't out there being assholes and telling people how it should be.
No.
It's I don't know. I don't tell other people how to podcast. I mean, listen to this.
The only person that I can say that does that, and you'll hear much out of him anymore, is Itagaki.
Yeah, Itagaki was a arrogant son of a bitch.
Itagaki thought his shit didn't stink, all because he made Ninja Gaiden.
And what's funny though is they kind of proved his point when he left, because DOA and Ninja Gaiden started not being very good.
It's true. It's very true. I will give him that. He did make good video games, but
he did.
Also
be a little humble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he like Anthony said, he also made that. Oh God, what's that game called?
Devil's Third.
Yeah, that game was not good at all.
Not good in the slightest.
No.
This man is dead. Bang.
It's just it's a weird thing of ego that like it makes it hard to like video games. I mean, there's people like this every medium. Like there's actors that suck, and there's
directors are bad too.
Directors, yeah. Like I remember you guys talking. I think it was before I was on the show about the Amazon series Lore.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I cannot listen to that podcast anymore. I used to be able to. I didn't mind it, but back when I was on Twitter, like the host would tell people how to podcast, and I'm like, man,
maybe he shouldn't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Like, well, it was funny because when they tried to adapt his podcast into something else, it didn't work, and like a lot of the complaint was literally about him doing the voiceover. So, you know,
season 2 they removed him completely.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a wise decision.
So it's one of those things where it's like it's just there's a level like I know we sometimes talk about Giant Bombcast. We'll just outright say it, but it's like it's not about how they podcast. It's the fact that like they're talking about video games and it's clearly not what they want to talk about. I just that there's a big difference there. We're not critiquing them. We sound like shit. We can't.
No,
critique anyone.
Yeah, no. The only thing I can say is, and the leg up that we have is that we don't care.
No, I don't give a shit.
And honestly, I mean, aside from the Bobby Blackwolf Show and Orange Lounge Radio, I think we're one of the longest running podcasts about video game out there. You know what I mean?
Gamertag Radio is
Gamertag, yeah.
Player One podcast, I think, is over a decade old too.
Yep. And the thing about Gamertag, if you listen to it though, those dudes just love video games.
Yeah.
Those dudes are cool dudes.
But yeah.
The
Tourist. Let's go back to the Tourist.
One of the things I found very funny about this game is like a year and a half old, and the only reason people are talking about it now is because it's on Game Pass, and it's just like it just points out to you like why is Game Pass important. This little indie dev that was on Switch a year ago, because everything comes to Switch first. It got lost in the sea of shit over there, but it shows up on Game Pass right at the front, like, hey, newly added. Everybody tries it, and they're like, oh my god, this is really good.
And it's funny you mentioned like the sea of shit on the Switch. There was an article recently from a dev and a publisher talking about like this is futile almost.
Yeah,
like
I don't know if you saw the guy from No More Robots did a big thread about putting games on PS4 because they don't even like market it at all. He's like, every time we put a game on PS4, because they just put Descenders on PS4, he's like, our sales are just garbage. Because there's just like the way it's structured is like you just don't see the games. And like, to be fair, Xbox was that way too until Game Pass started putting these little indie games like right up on the front page of Game Pass.
Right.
Yeah. And I think Microsoft's doing really well with that because I didn't even up until you just said it, I thought The Tourist was a brand new game.
Yeah, no, it came out on the Switch and PC in like mid 2019.
It came out in the PC because I've been waiting for it.
Oh, it didn't. It was only on Switch.
It was only on Switch.
Holy shit!
No, so that's great for them. And the thing is, I think they're paying attention because I've had a couple people like I mentioned The Tourist on Twitter, and I got like likes and retweets from people that don't follow me, and I'm thinking, is this the devs of this?
Yeah.
Saying, yay, thank you for actually playing my game because nobody else did.
Yeah, November 21st, 2019 was the Switch release.
I mean,
And it
that's
just
yeah.
came to Xbox One and Windows on July 30th.
And now everybody's talking about it. Where when it hit the Switch, because that's where everybody thinks games need to go, nobody mentioned it.
Yeah. Because it fell into, I don't know. It was released, I guess, probably the same day as some kind of hentai game.
Oh God, I saw like 3 or 4 of those when I was digging through the Switch this weekend. I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe this stuff's still out there.
So nobody else. I want to know if anybody out there is listening. On a weekly basis, do you go and switch through the new or go through the new releases on the Switch and actively? I think nobody actually looks.
I look and
I don't, because why?
Well, I look because I'm just curious what's hitting the Switch. And I'm going to be real honest with you, 75 to 80% of it is just straight up fucking garbage.
Yeah. Like, whatever happened to the Nintendo seal of approval, guys?
Nintendo don't give a shit. And can you blame them? I mean, they've got more games on the Switch than they probably have had on the last 3 consoles.
I mean, it's true, but I'm just like, yeah, but
I mean,
quality over quantity?
They didn't.
Absolutely.
I don't think they let Fast and Furious Crossroads on.
Well, I don't think that's. I think that's probably the developer going, well, I can't port it to the Switch or something, because I guarantee you it's not because Nintendo's like, not because of the quality of this game.
I know. I just wanted to throw a dig.
I heard that game is actually pretty good.
Oh, I've heard.
I've seen Justin Solani has been putting. I think he put the entire game on Twitter.
Somebody called it Burnout 3, and I was kind of like, man, if it wasn't $60, I might.
It's got mostly negative, if not super negative reviews on Steam, and I read through them, making sure it wasn't crazy, and people are like, yeah.
I don't know. It looks like a big, stupid arcade racer.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And if it wasn't 60, like if it had launched at like $30, I probably, with what little bit I've heard people talk about it, I probably would have taken a dive. But at $60, I can't. There's no way.
I think that's what
$60 was too much.
Justin's thoughts on it were. He said it's fun, but not for $60.
Yeah, $60 is just it's hard when we got new consoles coming and we're about to hit the big time for video games. Like, I mean, Madden's out in 3 weeks. You know what Madden always signifies every year? It's the beginning of the fall season, and it's out in 3 weeks. So I'm not spending $60 on a okay game. I'm just not.
My thing is, we're well past halfway through this year, and we still don't know how much these stupid consoles are going to be.
Oh, we talk about this every week, Drew. It's just, it's a game of chicken.
Yeah, but still, at some point, for a business, you
gotta get them pre-orders out there.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to wait until like a month before the system releases to actually say how much it's going to be, so people can pre-order it.
Well, I think the funny thing is it's more on Sony because, as we've probably mentioned a few times in the last couple of weeks, Microsoft don't give a shit if you buy it.
That's true, but
and Sony really cares if you buy it, like about it in the newsletter, but they're doing a bunch of whole other shit. So they need their price out there so people.
That's what I was thinking too. But I don't know. Yeah, but
the Tourist.
I played the Tourist. That's a neat little game, and it's free on Game Pass. And I think anybody who's got Game Pass should give it a shot.
I'm at the end of the game to the point where it's like you can go finish the game or you can go finish the to-do list, and I think I might actually finish the to-do list.
Are you going to 1,000 that sucker?
It's not about that. It's like a lot of that stuff's not even achievements. I just want to see everything. Like I think I'm like 8 photos through the photo mission. I think there's a couple other things I got to do with the T-shirts. I got to win the surfing contest, and I got to get the rats into the cave. So,
the cave sucks. The cave
sucks. I'm missing one message in a bottle too, and I don't know where it's at.
So I did the rats, and then you have to descend this cave slowly, and if you drop, you have to start right back at the top.
Oh, maybe I don't want to do that.
Why did they make platforming so bad?
It's not even platforming. It's at this point when you lower yourself on the rope, if you need to swing, it's back and forth. but like it's so easy to descend too far down the rope and then just fall off.
Maybe I'll just finish it because I'm literally in the ship and he's
It's
like,
not.
"We can
It's not
finish.
the-
I can launch. I can activate the ship. Like I've got enough done to do that. I thought about finishing it 100%, but oh no, it's good. It's on Game Pass. Go play it."
There you go. No, same stuff. Call of Cthulhu and Overwatch.
You get all your
God, no.
skins. I had 50,000 plus coins, so I just bought them.
I ran out of coins, so I'm up to like maybe 6,000 coins.
I still got to do the wins for the ones that you have to do for. So
Yeah, every week they do the new skin kind of thing. Honestly, most of the skins are kind of meh.
yeah, I like the Pharaoh one. I think that was it.
The Pharaoh one's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're kind of running out of stuff here.
I mean, they're probably not putting a whole lot of work into it, considering, well, they got a sequel coming out.
That sequel, I'm telling you, dude, is not going to be this year.
No, I don't think it's out.
Yeah.
But these events are going to probably be a little half-assed for a while.
But yeah,
That's okay.
That's
All
it.
right, I'll move over to Anthony.
Yeah, so I've been playing this game called The Tourist. Let's have a deviation from this conversation for 20 minutes.
Let's talk about how we do podcasts.
Yeah, I
All
like
right,
it. I
listen.
invite Craig, and then sometimes I do.
Sometimes, but most of the time, let's be honest.
No.
Yeah, that's what was said. I am playing. That game has like sucked me in. I am so impressed with the general. Sometimes there's some errors in the localization, and I'm like, okay. But man, it's so good. I paid $100 for the sequel.
Holy shit.
Yeah, well, it's coming from France. The European versions have 5 languages built in, even though like the cover will be French. Last window, it was only ever released in the UK and Europe, localized, and it's annoying as shit. But thank God the DS is region free. But yeah, I am addicted to this story. It's so well. It's woven so well that every character seems to be connected and in this hotel for a reason at this time. And the loose ends will get tied back into it. I'm just impressed with how well it's all going down. Yeah, I mean, I know it's a super old game, but Sing did some really good mysteries, and it's depressing that even when they sort of came back, not under the name Sing, it was the Cold Case game on the 3DS, and it just didn't do as well. So, that's it for me.
All right. I got a boatload of shit to talk about, so let's. So I ended up playing the Avengers game.
Yeah, what do you think?
I had a shout out to Alex over at MP First. He DM'd me. I chat with him all the time. He asked me if I wanted a code because I was not going to pre-order it. And I said, sure, I'll try it out. It's a very pretty game. It looks really good when you're playing it. It definitely has some performance issues. It is a beta. I hate to say it's a beta because the game launches in like less than 30 days, so that's not a fucking beta. But even in performance mode, it has definitely some frame rate issues. I find the combat very stiff, and it is what you think it is, as far as like it's a Destiny game. Like when you're the Hulk, and this is just kind of taking you out of the context of things. When you're the Hulk and you're punching a robot and you have to punch them 4 to 5 times to defeat them, you kind of don't feel like the Hulk.
Yeah, well, you can't. Playing the Hulk would be the instant win button.
It would be, but when there are numbers popping off of enemies and health bars and loot is dropping and crafting materials are dropping and, the Hulk is picking up mushrooms to craft some things later in the game.
What exactly does the Hulk wear? Because typically he doesn't have a shirt on or a helmet. So when you equip something to the Hulk, what is he equipping?
I didn't quite make it to customizing the Hulk, but I'm assuming that it's going to be maybe wristbands or something. Like maybe he's got a different belt that he wears to hold his pants up.
Because there's different costumes, but those are just
there's
aesthetics.
a billion costumes in that game, and it's because they're gonna sell you those costumes.
Yeah,
Goddamn costumes.
every fucking screenshot I've seen the last little while has been like, oh, this looks like a mobile game packaged as fucking, or Fortnite packaged as a $60 game.
Yeah, it's there are constantly things falling on the ground for you to pick up. And I guess the carrier, the shield carrier, will be like the home base, and you go back there and you can customize your character, and then you open up that menu and you just see this fucking just spreadsheet of shit that you need to kind of go through. And I could be okay with that if the combat felt Black Widow felt good to play because she is a character that is a melee focused character. Like the Iron Man levels felt a little stiff. Aiming is very hard with Iron Man. The Hulk levels are fun, but that's because they were just big and stupid. A lot of it just didn't feel weird. And then you get to this single player section where you're walking around as Bruce Banner, and I swear to God, the walking animation is just one of the most ridiculous looking things I've ever seen in my life. And it's it's something I could push past and be like, okay, well, it's just this. But then you think about the amount of money and the quality that this game is supposed to be pushing forward, and I'm just like, man, I feel like at least his walk cycle should look a little better. The lock-on system is not very good. You click in the R3 button to lock onto an enemy, but sometimes after you defeat that enemy, it won't lock onto the next enemy, and the camera just kind of spins around all over the place. And I don't know, man. I wanted to like it a lot more than I did because I think it has some really sweet cinematic moments. The fight with Taskmaster, the beginning of it is very cool. But then when you get to the actual fight itself, it's just kind of oh, so we're just going to do the same slow motion dodge attack kind of stuff over and over again. And that's one of the things that I think this game does is it's going to basically just make you grind over and over and over and over. The same type of enemies, the same type of levels, and just rinse and repeat them over and over and over again. So I don't know.
That sounds horribly boring. And
yeah,
I'm not trying to shit on people that like that type of game or excited about this, but to me,
no.
It's never been something that I'm interested in. It's the reason why I bounced off Destiny.
Yeah, Destiny is one of those games, it's weird because Destiny is a game that, when you play it, it plays fucking sublime.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's got the Bungie, perfect gameplay to it.
But the 12th time you visit the moon to collect fucking...
I put in a lot of time into Destiny, but...
I did too.
I get where you're coming from. I feel like I don't know. I'm not a Marvel guy either. So I feel like, I don't know. So in the full game when it releases, you're going to play story missions, but you can only play as a certain character?
I think that's just the intro to show you how each character works, and then eventually you'll be able to pick which characters you want. And if you're playing solo, I think you can bring AI teammates along with you.
So
I think it's how it's going to work.
At the beginning of the game, how many characters are unlocked?
There's 4 in the intro. It's Black Widow, Iron Man, Hulk, and Captain America. And then early in the beta, you get access to Kamala. And I think that's it. Spoiler, Cap dies in the intro.
I was gonna say, hold on, but yeah, you'll unlock Spider-Man just for playing on PlayStation.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think those are the main characters that you've got in the beginning.
Okay.
So, and I assume like they've already announced Hawkeye is coming as a DLC. I'm sure there's going to be like tons of characters
The
coming.
only character that I have any interest in is Miss Marvel because of how different her powers are.
Yeah.
And like, there's not a game where you play as someone like her.
Do they have the X-Men?
The Avengers. Anyways, so really.
So they don't have access to the X-Men?
I don't think it's that they have access. I just don't think they're going to put them in.
Put them in. It's the Avengers.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a few X-Men that were in the Avengers.
I mean, I'm sure they could.
Yeah, but I mean, like, everybody
isn't all over the place anymore. So,
but everybody's been a part of the Avengers. You know, like the Fantastic Four at one point was Spider-Man, the Hulk, Iron Man. Like it was, you know, everybody's been everybody in the Marvel comics.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, comic books are all kinds of fucked up. Everybody's been everybody. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what they're focusing on here other than it seems like it's the movie stuff, but it's weird because if you remember when you saw the trailer the first time, like the voices don't even come close to matching the movie stuff, so it's kind of weird, but I get it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the game. Like if there wasn't a bunch of other stuff coming out, I might be like, yeah, I might play this, and truth be told, I may play it for 10 hours like I did, you know, some of those other kind of games like that, and then just fall off completely because with superhero stuff, I really like a straight narrative.
Yeah.
View. And I don't know if this game is that in the long run.
So, did they say this was coming to Xbox One or Xbox Series X and PS5 as well?
Yes. This has the smart delivery.
So it is a free upgrade?
Yeah, it'll be a free upgrade if you buy it. So.
Gotcha.
I also played a game on the Switch called The Takeover, which is a beat 'em up Streets of Rage style game.
3D-ish, right?
Yeah, 3D with some like
it's
realistic.
A Pelican 13 joint.
Yeah, that game is pretty fun. I had fun playing that.
If you remember, there was a game called Arcade 90s Racer. 90s Arcade Racer. That was him at 1.2. And then shit fell apart behind the scenes. I'm not really sure what happened. He does not own that IP anymore. It's Nicholas or whatever the fuck you want to call him. But he's the one that there was a Sonic fan remix or whatever. Around the time of Sonic 4, there was a 3D demo of like 2 or 3 stages, Green Hill Zone, and it was like super fascinating, and that was led by him as well. He's a really good dev.
Yeah, that game feels good. Like it plays really good. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it, but then I remember, oh yeah, it came out on the Switch, you know, the cesspool of shit that can't have anything stand out.
I mean, it's also been on PC for years.
Yeah, but PC is almost a bigger cesspool of shit.
Yeah, that's true.
I also have 2 games that I'm checking out for review, which is Other Side and Fairy Tail. Y'all motherfucking anime people are horny as shit, ain't you?
Oh, Fairy Tail, the anime?
Yeah, it's a JRPG based on the anime.
Okay.
And man, like you get into that game. Like I played through the intro and like the first boss, and then I get to the town and I'm talking to the people. And, like every girl in that game is just popping out, man. And I'm just like, come on, man. Y'all are horny as shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But as far as like a JRPG goes, it's one of the most straightforward that I've played in a while. You know, a lot of games are trying to add a bunch of shit to these systems, and like this one is just like straight up turn-based JRPG, and it actually feels kind of nice just to go back to a simpler time in those games. So
Like old school
mechanically,
Final Fantasy.
yeah, like mechanically, I can get behind it. I'm like, I'm digging this. So I'm gonna play a little bit more of that. Other side, I only played through the tutorial. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know a whole lot about it yet. But the art style in that game is wonderful. I hope the game is as good as the art style. It's got this like black and white and red motif with like these really gothic mixed with like anime style, and I think it's really cool looking. All right, it's time for the ID at Xbox. I know you missed this. It Lurks Below was the first game I played. It's also on Game Pass, which is why I played it first. That is straight up Terraria style game. It's fine.
Sure.
My biggest, I'm going to call it my cock block of the week.
Oh boy.
So I started playing this game. It's called Undermine. It feels a lot like Zelda. Like you start out, you go down in this cave, you start fighting these enemies, you're picking up stuff, you get like these abilities. Like, oh man, this feels good. And then I died, and it's like, next run. And I'm like, fuck you. Because it's so good. Like the pixel art style is so good. Like the combat feels really good. The characters are very well animated. It seems like there's just a ton of stuff to discover. And then when you die, it's like, well, go just run the whole thing over again. It made me really sad. I really wanted it to just be like a straight up point A to point B Zelda kind of game.
Well, sorry, man. Everything's got to be a roguelike.
I know. I've got a couple of them in my ID at Xbox stuff this week. The next one I played is called Airy, Broken Memories. And this is a game where you fly around as a bird collecting feathers. And if you hit a wall or a tree or something, then you just start back over at the beginning. Needless to say, I played it till I collected all the feathers in one area, and I was like, you know what? I think I've seen everything you're going to give me. I think I'm good. The next game I played is called Clan Inn. This is a top-down isometric combat action game. You basically pick a character. You can play up to 4 players. And then you go through and you beat people up, and it's just kind of stupid fun. If I had anything to complain about it, is that it is very, very minimalized pixel art. So, like, your character is like a total of maybe 20 pixels. So you're not going to get a whole lot of detail in the characters and the enemies. Next up is Hard Cube. I will just describe this game as dollar store marble madness.
Could be good.
No, it's
No?
really not, because you spin the camera with the right and left bumpers instead of the right analog stick.
Yeah,
And
that sucks.
Yeah, and the jumping is not good.
Mm.
It does not feel good. This game does not feel good.
You know, we're lacking in Marvel Madness games now.
We are, and there's one that came out last week that I think I talked a little bit about. It's called Scully. And it's not a Marble Madness as per se, like here's a level, navigate your way through it, but it is like a rolling type game. It's published by I forgot who published it, but it's pretty good. It's got some good humor in it. That game's all right. The next game we play is called Warrior Orb. I don't know that I really understood what this game was. You're playing like this demon, and there's a dude talking to you. He's like, "You're gonna do this for my sister," and then like you walk. It's basically like a walking puzzle kind of game. And like you step on switches to open gates, and you got to roll through the gate, kind of deal. I don't know. Like the jumping doesn't feel good. I don't know. I didn't really care much for that game. Rogue Cube is a twin stick shooter. where you just literally play one level to the next level, and if you die, you start all the way over, hence the name Rogue Cube. The most sad I was this weekend is I played a game called The Mean Greens Plastic Warfare, which is a multiplayer-only game where you're playing as little green army men, like from the old Army Men games. And this game is a ton of fun. It's a very competent third-person shooter. The shooting feels good. Like, the matches are super interesting. Like, in the Jurassic Park level, one team is little plastic dinosaurs, the other team is little plastic army men, and the objective is to kill each other. The graphics are nice. The gameplay, it feels good. And then we get to the part where the game falls apart. There ain't a motherfucker playing this thing online. I got online and played, and I got into a match, and there were 3 people in it. Me and 2 other people. And that's it.
And it came out this week?
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
Maybe if it was on Game Pass.
I think it would do well if it was on Game Pass.
At the same time, isn't Laser League on Game Pass?
It was, yes.
And good luck finding a match there, too.
Yeah.
And the bad thing is, Laser League was fantastic.
Oh, I love this. I was playing the Mean Greens. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But not only did the game start off with just 3 people in it, but I was the only one left by the end of the match.
Ugh.
I just stood there and took the win because I won. And then I was like, this is super depressing because this game was a ton of fun. Like, if it had a single-player campaign, I'd be super excited, but it is legitimately just a tutorial and then versus modes online. And there is nobody playing it. Makes me sad. They finally sent me a code for Little Town Hero. I played through the tutorial of Little Town Hero. I will never play Little Town Hero.
Oh, well.
That fucking combat is something that I feel like a dude got stoned in a bathtub and just came up with.
That sounds awesome.
So, it's a turn-based game. I'm going to try to explain this. My son was watching me play this, and he got like 2 sentences in. He's like, this is too complicated. So, you start a battle, and it's like, all right, you've got an is it. And an is it is an idea of an attack that you want to do. You cannot do this attack until you consider the is it a real thing, and then it becomes a diz it. And then once it's a diz it, you can attack the enemy with it, but if it doesn't break their diz it, then it's a wasted diz it. I'm not even fucking kidding that this is what happened.
There is an older web series called The Last Panel, The Last Frame. And it was like this really stupid, everybody's in a white room, there's no exit, and literally there is a conversation about, I'll shoot you with this gun, but I have a shield that'll stop those bullets. It's an idea shield. I have this gun. It's made of a dream. But the dream gun is, the gun might be a dream, but the bullets are real.
Yes.
And it's fucking stupid, but it's funny. And then you were describing that, I'm like, this is literally the same concept. It's just not. It's not a thing I would ever want to play.
No, you don't want to. And all the characters make really annoying noises when they talk. So, like, when they talk, your character's like, blah, 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 blah. Don't play this game. Like, also, I can't believe this is the Pokemon people.
It's called The Last Scene.
Wait, this is made by Game Freak?
Yes! This is a Game Freak jam.
Okay.
Yeah, don't play this game.
Didn't they make the badass elephant?
They did make the badass elephant. Timbo's my homie. He's a badass elephant. And I played Mystery Mine. That game fucking sucks. Don't play that. I deleted it after 1 level. It is really bad. Just a side-scrolling game where a bush can hurt you. Don't play that game. And I bought Setsuka for Soul Calibur 6, and she is still super fun to play. I didn't buy the season passes for Soul Calibur and Tekken, so I've just been buying the characters that I want. And I really enjoy playing Setsuka. So I picked her up because I get a discount on Game Pass, so I get 60 cents off. And I played some Soul Calibur. That game's still good. I think that's it. I did play Overwatch because I always play Overwatch.
So back to Overwatch. Huh?
I mean, I don't really know that I stopped for longer than a week. Truthfully. It's a very therapeutic game for me, Drew. Like if I'm stressed or anxious or depressed, I can play 4 or 5 matches and like releases endorphins in my brain to feel good. I don't know. Game is therapeutic for me. Anyway, let's talk about what's coming out this week. Then we'll get to a lot of news. We got a lot of news. We got a lot of controversial news. We'll get to that. But out this week, we've got Brunch Club, Hyperscape.
What that is.
It's kind of right there in the name, isn't it?
You go to brunch.
And it's your group of friends, the club? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Hyperscape. Now, I want you to tell me what you think this game is about. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? That's the name of the game.
Sure. I'm willing to bet that is just a visual novel.
You'd probably be right.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's actually based off of it's a light novel series in Japan.
Of course
Okay.
it is.
And I'm going to assume... it's a dungeon action RPG.
Huh. Well, there you go. Banner of the Maid. Darkest Ville Castle. The Alto Collection. Deliver Us the Moon. Dying Light Hell Raid. Yes, a new DLC for Dying Light is out this week. And EA Sports UFC 4. Xbox is getting a lot of the same stuff, as well as Escape from Tethys, Metamorphosis, Boomerang Fu, Faria, Bite the Bullet, which I talked about a little while ago. That is a weird fucking game. And Lynn, Path of Orchards. I couldn't tell if it said orchids or orchards. It is orchards. And the Nintendo Switch. Whew. We got Twist and Bounce. Instant Sports Summer Games. Monster Jam Steel Titans. Volta X. Big Dipper. Collar X Malice. Double Kick Heroes. Pool Pro Gold, The Ambassador, Fractured Timeline. You can tell we're in like the lull before the storm. We Are Doomed, Arcade Archives, Super Punch Out, Prehistoric Dude, and Shaolin vs. Wu-Tang, which, by the way, is horrendous. That game is not very good. But if you ever wanted to play a game that every character was based on, like a kung fu movie star, that's your game. Got everybody in it.
I want a new Def Jam game.
I think everybody wants a new Def Jam game, and I don't think EA is going to give you a new Def Jam game.
That makes me very upset.
I mean, even Ice-T tweeted this weekend that we should get a new one. We ain't gonna get a new one.
Yep.
All right, let's go to
Fight for New York was the best. Let's not do the Icon one.
No, Icon was not great.
I played the crap out of Icon, and I still find it hilarious that in the story, you make somebody mad, and they send Little John to blow up your house.
That's pretty funny.
It's kind of awesome if we're thinking about it.
I mean, that is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's start the news off with good news. So, we've been talking for the last few weeks about Warner Brothers being sold.
Yep.
It looks like they're not going to be sold.
Okay.
So Warner Brothers is going to stay within AT&T, Warner, all that stuff, which is good because we don't necessarily want, like, Microsoft would treat it well, but then a lot of the games wouldn't make it to other platforms, and I think that's a bad practice. If EA got a hold of Mortal Kombat, it might ruin my love for Mortal Kombat. Same with Activision. They probably would have split up all the studios and made them Call of Duty support studios. So let's just be happy that Warner Brothers is staying where Warner Brothers is. Now, speaking of Warner Brothers, DC Fandom is, I believe, the 20th of August. And Rocksteady has finally confirmed that their game will be shown there, and it is a Suicide Squad video game.
So,
yeah.
Let's talk about the fact that it may very well be an Avengers type game.
It is possible that it'll be a Destiny-style loot grindy game.
Boy, count me out.
God, see, that's the thing. It's like, this is... DC's my jam. Suicide Squad's my jam.
Yeah.
You're apparently... Your target is to kill Superman.
That's a pretty cool target.
That sounds freaking awesome.
I mean, I will give this game the benefit of the doubt until they give me a reason. The same way I did with Avengers. Show me what it is. If I don't like it, then that sucks. Because if you think about Rocksteady, the last thing you think of is a games as a service. But let's be fair. When I think about Crystal Dynamics before Marvel's Avengers, I did not think about a game as a service either.
I don't know. I just, we'll see what happens. But if it turns out to be exactly like the Avengers, I will take Suicide Squad over the Avengers any day.
I would too, but I would still be just as skeptical about that game.
I know, and I would be too. Because I was like I said in our email chain, if whoever gets to play Deadshot, that should be the win button, right?
I mean, you would think so.
You take out a guy with a gun instead
it's also
of
a video game, so it doesn't really matter.
This is true. But I mean, would you rather be Harley Quinn with a baseball bat or Deadshot with a freaking sniper rifle from 800 yards away?
Well, I mean, I guess if I was fighting people up close, I'd rather be Harley Quinn with a baseball bat.
Well, maybe you don't have to fight up close. Maybe you can be yards away.
This ain't no sniper game. You're gonna have to, especially if it's a loot grinding game, you're gonna have to fight fodder. Come on now.
I know.
You can't pick up that loot from 800 yards away, Drew.
Who are you gonna fight? Superman's guards? Why does Superman need guards?
They'll do the Apocalypse storyline where he has like the soldiers with the patches.
That's true. Yeah,
you could do that. Also rumored to be there, this is not confirmed, but Ed Boon is presenting, so there's a rumor floating around that Injustice 3 will be shown at DC Fandom.
That is the next thing, right?
Man, a next-gen Injustice? Ooh.
God, think about the facial animations.
My God, my son and I still play Injustice 2, and that game is still fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, it's impressive. Like, there was only a few, Harley Quinn, especially, like that facial animation looked freaking real.
Yeah, like that game. Ooh.
I can't remember who else had a really good facial animation.
Wow. I know who you're talking about. It's like that cutscene in the swamp.
Yeah,
Poison Ivy. I think
Poison Ivy. Yeah, Poison Ivy looked really good. There was a few that were just like, Like, even Batman's was kind of meh. Green Lantern was kind of meh.
They don't have to because they got masks on, so they don't have to do it as well. But
yeah,
still, that game, NetherRealm
needs to make a movie.
They do. They need. I mean, they really need to make Shaolin Monks 2. That's what they should be making. So.
Wow.
Man, they're such a good developer. Excites me. So we'll see. DC Fandom, it's coming. So those are the two games. We might see the Batman game, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Who's supposed to be doing that one?
WB Montreal.
And they've done what?
What was the Arkham Origins?
Oh, okay. So they did Arkham Origins.
Yep.
I didn't mind Arkham Origins.
That's fine.
It had some of the coolest boss fights in it.
Has the best story.
Yeah.
It does. Best story.
That's okay.
Doom Eternal's first single-player expansion was debuted this weekend at QuakeCon. It's called The Ancient Gods.
Are you going to fight Cthulhu?
I think it's actually God.
Oh.
Like you're doing quests for God, according to the teaser.
So God talks to the Doomslayer?
Did you play Eternal?
No.
Okay, you should probably play Eternal.
Okay.
You go to heaven.
What?
Yeah. That game's pretty good, Drew. You should play Doom Eternal. It's a pretty good game.
It's a good game. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to.
Yeah, no, it definitely.
So it's not as good as Doom 2016?
No, it's not. It's still a really good video game, though.
If it came out first, you'd be like, "Wow, the Doom 2016." If it came out after Doom Eternal, you'd be like, "This is a step up in every direction." And there's going to be people. There's going to be people that are like, "The Marauders are one of the best." Fuck off! No.
So what? So the Marauders is what brought Doom Eternal down?
Marauders they suck, but what brought Doom Eternal down is that it is Doom 2016 with like we're gonna add a bunch of shit for a sequel stuff in it, and not all of it needed to be there.
So gameplay wise, Marauders are the worst part. That's new. The story is like it's the difference between Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick, where Chronicles of Riddick just has a bunch of shit, and you're like, this is not why I like this character.
Yeah, there's a lot of story in Doom Eternal, and in fact, he even talks, and it's kind of weird.
The Doom guy talks.
He has like one line.
Rip and tear.
Rip and tear. You get the origin of the Doom guy in Doom Eternal.
Wasn't he supposed to just be like some random space marine dude?
Well, not anymore. He's actually like a god.
Oh gosh, okay, all right. The original Doom,
it's stupid, Drew, and it's supposed to be stupid. I'm okay with it being stupid, but I didn't need it.
Wasn't he like a crappy like janitorial marine too? Like he was like a really crappy marine, but he was the only survivor.
Well, you know the plot of why he's mad in Doom, right? It's because they killed his pet rabbit.
Yeah, they killed his rabbit.
Yeah. They should bring that back. I think they brought the rabbit back, didn't they?
I heard something about rabbits.
The rabbit is visible in one of the levels.
Yeah. Doom Eternal's a good video game, Drew. It's the people will downplay it because it's not as good as 2016, and I agree that it is not, but it is still a very good video game.
Okay. I'll play it eventually.
All right. This one just broke this morning. Yoshinori Ono is leaving Capcom.
Just to retire or go somewhere else?
I don't know. He put out a note this morning saying, I'm leaving Capcom. I don't know if he's going somewhere else or if he's just done or if like he was kind of forced out because he didn't like where Street Fighter 6 was going. I don't know. It just happened this morning.
Interesting. That's weird. That's he's been the Street Fighter guy for almost ever.
Yeah, he's been at Capcom for 30 years.
Yeah.
So he is now leaving Capcom. Broke this morning. Yeah.
Wow. Maybe he's going to go make Mighty number 10.
God, I hope not.
I hope not either.
Remedy announced their Alan Wake Experience DLC coming to Control and also confirmed that the next game that they are working on is connected to both Control and Alan Wake.
Great. I appreciate well, it's my fault for not playing it, but that is a spoiler.
What?
For Control.
I mean, what is a spoiler for Control? That they're connected?
That set in the same universe?
Well, if you listen to Sam Lake, he said all of his games are set in the same universe.
Well, yeah, that's true. But there's a part in Control where you find out
There's a note. There's like a brief you can read.
Isn't the clicker in there too?
Not a note. Notes.
Notes, yes. There are multiple notes.
Okay.
I
know what the spoiler was because I know Anthony told me. And I really want to play Control, but I never have.
You should anyway.
I know.
You need to make that a wait till the DLC's done, I'd say. And then make that a
Phoenix Down game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can I never just get a list? I should have done this.
Is this another exclusive DLC?
No. When we were talking about Ono, Street Fighter V characters were announced. Dan, Rose, Oro, and Akira Kazama from Rival Schools, as well as a final character that is yet to be named. Probably should have titled Street Fighter News.
I have not paid attention to Street Fighter V in a long time. Didn't they have like an entire character pack that was of new characters that you've never seen before?
They may have.
I've seen pictures of characters from Street Fighter, and I have no idea who this is.
There's a lot of new characters in Street Fighter V.
You got the Abraham Lincoln dude.
Yes.
He was one of them.
Abigail, which is the big giant dude. I mean, there probably was a pack that was all new characters, but the last pack was really kind of disappointing because it was just like, what was it? Not Evil Ryu. They call him something else. I don't know. I haven't kept up with it. But there's 40 characters.
Evil Ryu.
Yeah. There's 40 characters now, and at the end of this, there'll be 45 total. So I'd assume this is probably going to be the last pack. Of course, I assume that about the last pack, so who the fuck knows? Street Fighter's crazy, man. Oh, goodness.
Still no El Fuerte, so whatever.
It's all about the Fuerte, man.
Since putting 300 hours into Street Fighter 4 and maining El Fuerte the entire time, yes, that's El Fuerte has ruined me. I can't play Street Fighter without El Fuerte anymore.
Which is funny because that was his debut, was in Street Fighter.
It was, and I doubt we'll ever see him again.
Nah, they'll bring him back in Street Fighter 6 and be like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
Sony had their State of Play last Thursday. We talked about this on the show last week, which was kind of funny because we were all like, yeah, rumors ain't true. They ain't having one. Then they did have one, but what was funny is that the rumors were not true because it was all like PS4 shit.
They showed off a good amount of PS5 stuff, right?
Hitman and Bug Snacks.
Oh, what about that Destiny-looking game?
What Destiny-looking? You talking about Godfall?
Yeah.
I mean, we already knew about that game, and I'll be real honest with you, that game looks like shit. I think that game looks like the most... it makes Avengers look exciting to me. Like, I watched that, like, they ended with that, and they spent a ton of time showing that game, and, like, I'm like, dude, this game does not look that fun. Like, the dude was describing how to do a 3-button combo and trying to make it sound interesting. He's like, if you press square 3 times, you'll get this attack. I'm like, okay. So... I don't know. That game does not look all that interesting to me. It seems to be a flagship game for the PS5, and I'm like, y'all should be like focusing on like Spider-Man or something else, because this game don't look all that good. Just saying. What else was it? Did they announce other things in the thing? I was looking for a list, but I can't find it. Apparently everybody's gone.
I'm here. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I don't. I watched it. Yeah, I watched it, and I was just kind of like, there's a couple things in it that I thought looked really good. Crash looks really good. I mean, I've been on Crash since they announced it. I'm okay with that one. God, I thought there was something else in it that I thought would look really cool.
Hitman 3 is going to be
VR.
Braid Anniversary Edition. Yep. Sorry, I just found a list. The Pathless.
The Pathless looks...
I don't know any of this stuff. I'm just naming it off.
Well, I watched it, so I know the Pathless is like it's like an open world without a map, and you're like cleansing the area, and then once you cleanse an area, you get to fight a boss. It's got like this real artistic style to it. Like the characters over animated when they run, very minimalistic look. It's made by the guys. It's made by Giant Squid.
I don't know what else they've done.
They did Abzu.
Got it.
Yep.
Splunky 2.
Yep, that's coming out in September.
Aeon Must Die.
Oh, this is the game that looked really cool, and then immediately during the state of play, the developers put out a statement saying that the company fucked them over and stole all their shit.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, Focus Home, wasn't it? Wasn't that their publisher? Yeah.
Wait,
Focus
Focus
Home
what?
Interactive.
Focus
What?
Home is the publisher,
Yeah.
but the company that made it, like right before that demo was finalized, they basically like stole all of their stuff and fired a bunch of them.
Games.
Yeah.
All right. That's
Like there's a
interesting.
big controversy about that game, and it sucks because it was one of the coolest looking things in that state of play.
Next one is Anno Mutationum.
Oh yeah, that's a Chinese game.
An adventure game featuring 2D and 3D segments and a unique mix of pixel and 3D art.
Yes, it's coming to
Melee
PC and
focused.
PS4.
Bug Snacks, Star Wars Vader Immortal, which is the VR game. New DLC for Control. The Pedestrian, which has been on PC, where you play as the character from Signs and you platform.
Not
with
the
puzzles.
Shyamalan movie.
No. Hood, Outlaws and Legends.
Oh yeah, the 4v4 game where like two teams are stealing a treasure and then you can
Hood like
backstab.
Robin Hood. Got it.
Yeah.
Temtem
Tim is
Godfall.
Pokemon for PS5 and Xbox.
and PC, and Godfall.
Ugh,
Yep, there you go. That's the
that's how I
list.
feel about Godfall. Yeah, it was a. I mean, to Sony's credit, they did temper expectations before that thing went out. But it's a weird thing to put out when you've got a new console launching this fall. I don't know.
No.
I'm trying to think if I want to get to the Sony stuff last because there's a couple things to talk about. I think that might. Oh, there's a documentary coming to Netflix this week or next week that I think is worth checking out. It's called High Score, I believe, and it'll be a 6-part series about video games.
Like chronicling what?
The notes mention Final Fantasy, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and some other stuff.
Okay.
So I think that would be High Score, a 6-episode Netflix documentary about the golden age of video games. Premieres Wednesday, August 19th.
On Netflix.
Yep.
Cool. I'll see if I can take a look at that.
All right. Let's get it on. So this week spurred a large conversation about exclusivity practices.
Sure.
According to Square Enix, Spider-Man is coming to Marvel's Avengers, but only if you have a PlayStation console. So if you're playing the game on Xbox or PC, you will not be allowed to play as Spider-Man.
Well, that's...
So,
And it's not because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man,
because they do not.
because they do not. Because I saw a few people talking about that, saying, "Well, they own the rights to Spider-Man, right?" Well, Spider-Man was on a Switch game called Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Sony only owns the
The
movie rights,
That's
Yes.
and they have to make a movie every so often to retain them. Otherwise, they revert back to Marvel.
Yep.
Which is funny because now Marvel's helping them keep those rights by helping them
Right.
make the Spider-Man movies.
But it's that or not have Spider-Man.
Yes. So this has nothing to do with the movie rights. So I know that the Sony fans are championing this, like, my platform's better than your platform because I've got Spider-Man. Let me tell you straight up, this sucks for everybody. Now let me tell you why. Xbox and PC owners do not get to play as this character. Now, let's be fair. If it was any other Marvel character, who gives a shit? Because it's Spider-Man, arguably the most popular Marvel character, and quite arguably one of the most popular comic book characters, period. Like him and Batman, that's the top of the game. Now, you PlayStation fans probably like, why does this suck for me? So here's why it sucks for you. Marvel's Avengers eventually is going to have crossplay. The developers have already said that this is happening, which means the Spider-Man stuff in Marvel's Avengers cannot be tied to the main story missions. You cannot build a game that has a character that when you go to do crossplay with other consoles, they don't have. So the fact that you're limiting it to only PlayStation means that you're not even able to use the most popular character in Marvel to his full potential within the game. I mean, and all this so you can say, my platform's better than your platform. Like,
I can't get into, like, every time I look at Twitter and I see either Phil Spencer or Yoshida post something, it's always just vitriol in the comments.
In the comments, yeah.
And it feels like I get dumber every time I read those.
Oh, they're awful.
Because my thing is, it's usually like, I think, this is just a kid. No, this is like a 35-year-old man saying this stuff. And I'm just like, really? You guys are championing the fact that you spent money on something?
But they'd cry if it was the other way around.
If it was the other way around, they're like, "Oh, here's the Xbox tiers." And I'm just like, "What?" And I mean, it's both sides. It's not just Xbox. It's not just PlayStation. Both of them.
Both sides are awful people. They just are.
I don't have much to say about this situation other than when I was saying this stuff about the Epic Game Store, my point was not, oh, I have to open up another launcher. It's shitty that they're going in, not helping with development costs, which has now changed with Epic. But they aren't helping with development costs. Like, if Sony was, which is the reason why I think Street Fighter was on PlayStation 4 only. I think they put money towards it, but it's like there's a level where you are going after the fact and going, hey, here's some money, do this thing for me, or we see value in what you are doing, and we will give you money if you stick with us specifically. I'm not saying, oh, you have to be there day one, but you have to put in the investment and help with the development for me to be fully comfortable with it being an exclusive. Yeah, I might be upset because it might be something I want to play and then I don't have that console or whatever. But like, the only reason why Bayonetta 2 existed is Nintendo put money towards it. That's why it's exclusive. It's not their property at all. But they saw that there was value in that IP and they put money towards it. And that's the reason why you have Bayonetta 2 and 3 whenever it exists. There's Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Only exists because Nintendo put money towards it. So stuff like that is where I go, yeah, that's okay. I'm okay with it being an exclusive. But the way that Epic was doing it and now Sony is doing it is that they're going after the fact and going, hey, here's all this money to not be on our competitor. And I mean, get your money, I suppose, but it is just shitty because what you're really saying is this is totally possible, but I was paid not to.
Yeah. And it's like I was telling Drew the other day, I hate that, like, so let's use Final Fantasy VII Remake as an example. That is coming to Xbox and PC, but Square Enix has yet, to this day, come out and say that it is coming. Because they were paid.
What's coming then?
Yeah, well, because it says right on the box 1 year exclusivity. And if you think Square Enix is going to leave money on the table when that year-end exclusivity ends, you're out of your fucking mind. They'll put that game out on PC and Xbox and sell another 5 million copies of it. You'd be stupid not to. But my point is they're not even allowed to say it. And I go back to the Tomb Raider thing with Microsoft, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Remember that bullshit?
Yep.
So Microsoft pays for a year exclusivity on Rise of the Tomb Raider. Again, shocking. It was Square Enix who made that deal. I'm pretty sure we can start to think that Square Enix is kind of a money whore, which is not a shock. But do you remember the outcry when that happened? Like, Sony fans are making fun of Xbox fans right now because they're like, oh, you're crying because you can't have Spider-Man. Y'all fucking cried for a month after Tomb Raider was announced, to the point where Square finally said, yes, it's coming to PC and PlayStation in a year. It was shitty then. It's shitty now. It just is a shitty practice. Because like Anthony said, Sony is not paying Square Enix to develop Spider-Man because they weren't going to put it in the game. They're paying them to keep it off of another platform. And we're going to get to this next. Sony has supposedly reached out to every single major third-party publisher to get exclusive rights to something in this upcoming generation. So the game that you buy for $60 on Xbox is not the full game in theory. The same game you buy for $60 on PC is not the same game in theory. This is the Destiny shit all over again. And from what I hear, Sony already has 2 Bethesda games that were supposed to be multi-plat that are now exclusive to PS5, at least for probably a year. That's the thing, is nobody will talk about these deals. So Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are exclusive to PlayStation 5.
And I think if people were a little bit more upfront, although here's the issue, it's not independent developers like it was on Epic Game Store to some extent, although then you had people like Deep Silver, or companies like Deep Silver, like admit, well, we have more money here, so we're taking that deal. I would have more respect if they just came out and were like, yeah, you know what? We can't leave this money on the table. We have investors, and it's just, this is how we can make games still. I'd have a lot more respect, even if it's not fully true.
Yeah.
But it's just this idea that they go out there and they go, it's going to be better on PlayStation. Well,
that's the marketing thing. Have you
that's like?
Have you seen the marketing tagline for it?
No.
This is actually a thing. So if you go watch the Marvel Avengers trailer that was released over the weekend, they're calling it the PlayStation Advantage.
Ugh.
So basically every game that Sony goes out and pays for is being marketed as the PlayStation Advantage, which is kind of funny because there was a report floating around this morning that was just getting dog shit hammered that Resident Evil 8 was running on Series X and PS5, and it was running beautifully, perfectly on Xbox Series X at 4K 60. But on PS5, it was struggling to maintain frame rate at 1080p. And people were livid. Like, they were ripping the shit out of this report because they're like, there's no way, because the PlayStation 5 is just impeccable. Like, it's just, I get that there are shitty practices on both sides. My problem is that the discourse online is so negative towards Xbox.
What a weird world we live in, where you are. And like, I know we sometimes go and say like, well, the Xbox Game Pass is really good, but like,
sure, I know that.
Scream about Hulu being better than Netflix. Scream about McDonald's being better than Burger King, and see how many people don't call you or stop talking to you entirely. Not even gonna call you crazy. Just stop talking to you altogether because of how stupid you sound. What a like you can like something more. No one's saying you can't, but I'm uncertain why these people go online and like it's such a weird thing. Like, listen, kids, teenagers, sure, but like Drew said, these are adults, and if the only reason why PlayStation is better than Xbox is because they're acting like Tanya Harding and fucking kneecapping Xbox Nancy Kerrigan, like you're not the better fucking console if you literally have to pay for things to not be on the other platform. It was generally considered that the Xbox 360 was the better platform at the time, and that can be compared right through the both PS3 and Xbox 360 games that like came out around the same time. You can compare them directly and see what runs better. I just, even then, it's like they don't run so differently most of the time that you need to have arguments over. Just play the fucking game. I don't get any of this. Like, it's so far gone for me. Like, it made sense when I was on the playground screaming about.
When you're a fucking child.
Well, not only that, but like when it was a notable difference, like the GameCube and Xbox and PS2, the controllers were drastically different from each other. And sometimes the games were too. And before that, it was N64 and PlayStation 1, which, I mean, even further apart. But as we keep going on, the console gets closer and closer. And the only one at this point that you can kind of compare and be like, it's better than this, is the Switch. But then, none of these other consoles are portable. So comparing the two, other than anything but price, where people are getting fleeced on the Switch, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what are you trying to win? I'm curious. Like, what benefit do you receive?
It's smugness.
Even if you're right.
That's all it is.
Fucking Sony come out and suck your dick? Like, I don't get it.
That's the tweet I put up last week where I was like, I don't understand this. I don't know if you know this, but your PlayStation's not going to come and fuck you.
Like,
it's just not.
My thing is,
Eye comes out and goes, Ridge Racer, and then just goes to town.
My thing is that, like, if Sony comes out and announces a game, like, people feel the need to say, haha, it's not coming to Xbox. Who cares? Just go play that game. And if you're an Xbox owner and you don't have a Sony thing and you see the Sony thing, you're like, man, I wish this wasn't coming. It's like, or I wish this was, this was coming to my system. Yeah. It's not like you shouldn't be fighting over this. You should be like, man, I really wish the Xbox guys could play this too.
To see how awesome it is. Yeah, like when Cuphead made its way to PS4 like a couple weeks ago, like the first thing a lot of people said was like, man, you guys need to play this game. It's awesome. I can't believe it's taken this long to get over there. You need to go play it.
Yeah.
Like, that game is like when Horizon Zero Dawn launched on PC last week. You all need to go play this. It's a great game.
But then the PlayStation people are like, well, then what the hell's the point of having a PlayStation if Horizon Zero Dawn's going to PC? What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about?
That is the dumbest comment ever. Like, every game, the more places it is, the more people get to see how fucking awesome it is. How is this a bad thing?
I don't get it. I do not get it. The only thing it benefits is the company that makes the video game system. It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit the other people. The only people it benefits is the money that it's going to generate. Spider-Man. Spider-Man does not benefit freaking Crystal Dynamics. Because Crystal Dynamics now has to work on Spider-Man for only one system. The only person or people that it helps is fucking Sony. Because they're the ones that's going to be, you want to play Spider-Man, you got to come give us money.
I want to say that part of this is the idea that, and this is, I'm going to probably knock down some walls that people don't like, but I think part of it is that people people want to engage in the conversation online, but they also want video games to be theirs. And that is not a thing you can do, both engaging online but like you can't do it when you choose to engage online, but especially about something that is a commercial product.
Yeah.
Like you aren't, and this sounds bad, you are not special for playing Spider-Man, a game that sold.
Bullshit, Anthony. I'm very special because Sony only cares about me and its fans.
But that's just it. Like I'm saying, like you are not special for liking a video game. There's a lot of like underground titles that gain like popularity with a couple people, like a cult film. Once it starts going mainstream, not special anymore. But these people are treating every video game like it's something like, oh, we're just underground. Like we haven't, the video game, market has not been underground since about 2010, at least.
My thing is, and you're kind of hitting it right there, Anthony. It is derived from video games used to be for the hardcore, nerdy, and lazy. It's just like our theme song. And people video games became popular, and the hardcore Final Fantasy nerds. You could see it. You could see the vitriol in the posts.
Mobile games don't count.
Yeah, this doesn't count, or this. Why don't you just go play?
For what? Doesn't count for what? I don't understand that argument.
Because they feel elitist because they've been around so long. I like this before it was cool. It's the hipster thing to do.
But it's not.
Fuck off.
Not even the hipster. Let's just take that because I'm a hipstery asshole when it comes to music and stuff. And not intentionally. It's just.
It's not even that.
Things can change. Things can change for the negative as things become more popular. But I have personally not seen that with most video games. Sure, there are some. I think, especially when you start seeing like multiplayer added to stuff that really shouldn't be, or like big genre changes with like a last-ditch effort to keep a franchise alive or stuff. Yes, I see some of that sometimes, and it is disappointing. But like. Right now, I don't see a lot of that. Right now, I'm more concerned about studios having to do stuff that is going to fail than I am franchises going to die. I'm disappointed I don't see a new Titanfall because Titanfall 2 was set out to die, and then, they made a Star Wars game. But that's also not the end of the world for me. And that's and Titanfall 2 only succeeds if more people play it. So the more popular it is, the better. I'm not trying to gatekeep and be like, oh no, this has to be mine and special forever. If you want stuff to keep coming out, you have to be open to the idea of it going other places.
So I'm not going to say that Marvel Avengers is going to flop because I don't think it is. No. But let's say if it was a more niche title, and Sony paid them to make a special character that was just for PlayStation. And then the game flopped and Crystal Dynamics starts to go under because of it. Do you think Sony would actually say, well, you helped us out, so we'll help you out? No, they would throw them to the wayside and say, well, you guys suck. I mean, come on.
No Man's Sky all over again?
Yeah, exactly. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky flopped. Sony was like, "Whoa, well, we had nothing to do with this. This was these guys' fault." When in fact, they were the ones pushing to get the game out as soon as they could.
Yeah, they threw Sean Murray on their stage every chance they got,
and then they threw him under the bus.
They published the game originally, and then as soon as it sucked, they were like, "We're not the publisher anymore."
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I understand, but like at that point, Hello Games was the second party publisher or second party developer. Like you can't even pretend that they weren't connected.
We got PR sent us a copy of No Man's Sky from Sony.
Yes.
And they don't do that unless they're handling the publishing of it.
And then they threw him under the bus.
Yeah, they basically said, well, your game sucks at launch, so we don't have anything to do with this anymore. And
Exactly.
if Marvel did the same thing, they'd do the same thing again. No doubt about it.
And you're championing a company that will throw people under the bus because you bought their system.
And this is no better for Xbox.
No, Microsoft would do the exact same thing.
Absolutely. And you know why? Because they don't care. Yes, right now, their company message is... I'm going to tell you something right now. Microsoft's company message right now is exactly what Sony's was at the beginning of last gen.
Yes.
Look how friendly we are to you. You can bring all your old games. You don't have to upgrade your console. It's all business speak to get you into Game Pass. That's what it is.
And think about it.
Share your games, and we're now mostly digital, so that kind of died off, didn't it?
Yeah,
but
it didn't even matter.
At that moment, it was a big thing.
Yes.
Yeah, they're doing whatever is hot right now to make you buy their system. It's the oldest trick in the book, guys. I mean, the Microsoft we're bashing Sony because they did that to No Man's Sky. There was a game that was supposed to come out for Xbox, and they dropped it like a freaking hot tamale, and it was called Scalebound.
Nobody knows exactly what happened with that, but
somebody got screwed on that one.
Yeah, and
it wasn't Microsoft.
No, Microsoft lost a lot of money on it, but I guarantee you they recouped a lot when they dropped it. There's a reason why Microsoft's one of the biggest companies in the world, is because they do shit that helps their bottom line. That's how this works.
I suggest it's a long video, and it won't make sense necessarily to people that don't watch his other stuff, but I was actually watching it last night, a video from Ross Scott of Ross's Game Dungeon, and he talks about how Microsoft kind of ruined PC gaming. Like, they had the Xbox 360, and they were paying devs to keep stuff off PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
That's
they
shitty
own
practice.
the marketplace of. So it's like, they were trying to make the 360 look better by not having PC versions of, like, say, Alan Wake. And it's like, yeah, that's not even, like, another party. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a competitor. It literally was them as well. They are the PC.
The PC.
Yeah, it's called Windows,
Yeah. So, like,
who really pays for Windows, though?
Nobody.
It's just, it's so weird to me to see this fighting about what is shitty practices. It's not okay if these same people complained about Nintendo. I don't know why am I trying to apply logic to any of this. It's bitching on the internet, and it's tiring, and I'm glad I don't have to read it.
Yeah, when I mentioned this stuff on Twitter this week, a lot of people would come back to me and be like, "Well, what about when Microsoft did this?" And my response
was
always,
shitty then too.
It was shitty then too. Nobody said it wasn't.
Yeah.
What I'm saying right now is this is the current shitty.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Rise of the Tomb Raider. That shit was 10 years ago, or whatever.
5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about that now because it's done, it's past, it's over. This is what's shitty right now. And I'll tell you what, if Microsoft comes out tomorrow and says, well, this game is only getting this on Xbox because the Xbox, then I'll say that's shitty too.
Yeah, it's a load of crap. It's just like, the problem is that Sony's now on top, so they can get away with this shit. Last generation, Microsoft was on top, and they got away with it. Yeah. And both times it was shitty practices. Microsoft's been the villain for so long that now Sony's becoming the villain.
Except they won't be the villain, and that's my problem with the discourse. Is the discourse is very different when this stuff comes out. It really feels like it is.
Yeah.
Like, at least among people who follow their preferred machine, when Sony does something, then it's like, oh, well, it is what it is. And when people complain about the practice, they're like, well, you should just buy a PlayStation. You know how many times I was told I should just buy a PlayStation this week?
My thing is that everybody was saying the exact same thing in reverse order whenever Sony came out and said that you're going to get a second job to buy a $599 US console. And everybody was like, screw Sony, they suck. But then Sony took on Xbox and said, we're not going to charge you to share your games. You can just trade them. and they're like, "Yay! Now they're the good guys."
They're
And
not
then-
good guys. They're
and
just in
then-
business.
Exactly. It's like every 8 years you have a president that everybody's like, they suck. We're going to completely go the reverse and then put this other person in. And then you're like, whoa, man, that sucks even more. So we're going to do it again. It's the same crap all the time.
Maybe it's you, not me.
I can't figure it out. Like seriously, like every time I see Microsoft basically trying to play catch up, and then somebody who bought a PlayStation for some freaking reason saying, "Well, they suck. Should just bought a PlayStation. Rest in peace, Xbox." And
I mean,
off. What are you doing? What are you doing?
We don't even have prices for these consoles yet, and there's already articles out there saying the PlayStation 5 will outsell the Xbox Series X 2-1. Like, what?
But that's not the case.
Who cares?
$700, you know?
You don't even know the price of these consoles. You don't. I can't.
On this hard-hitting research
I
in my
can't deal
ass,
with this shit.
please read.
I can't deal with. If you follow a console to the point where everything they do can do no wrong and everything the competition does is wrong, you're a fucking moron. You're a straight up fucking moron.
There's a word for it. It's called a shill.
Ugh. You're a sick individual, and if you're worried about...
You're a paid shill. That's what you have to start doing. You just have to...
But you're not even a paid shill.
No,
you paid
you
to become a
just
shill.
accuse everyone online that
You're a
you're
paid shill.
a paid shill and see them implode. Why would you defend it this much? I just like it a lot. Like, that's what a paid shill would say.
Who cares?
Spin them in circles.
If Nintendo continues to go their route, and Microsoft continues to go their route, and Sony continues to go their route, every fucking body wins. You get your games that you want here, you get your service that you want here, and you get your Nintendo games that you want here. Go with what you want, play with what you like, and who gives a fuck?
But I have to justify my purchase of a plastic
Fuck
box.
your purchase. Fuck your $500. I don't care what you spend it on.
Look, I was 4 years old whenever the first Final Fantasy came out in NES Famicom.
I don't care.
We're the ones who made you, and we can break you.
No, go ahead and try to break me. I will continue to buy and play whatever the fuck I want.
Final Fantasy is a traitor.
It is. Final Fantasy's always been a traitor.
Because it came to Xbox 360.
Yeah, and now it's a traitor because, Remake didn't come to Xbox. Oh, shit. Dragon Quest sucks because it's coming to Xbox now. Did you know that?
I, for one, do not admire this game anymore.
No. It's sold out. This game sold. That's the funniest thing is when this company sold out. I'm like, motherfucker, do you not realize that that's what you did? You championed the PlayStation, you championed the Xbox, you championed Nintendo.
It's like when James Hetfield cut his hair and then started wearing eyeliner. He sold out.
He was trying to be My Chemical Romance. You didn't know.
No. Because it's more like Kiss when people are like, Kiss sold out. Kiss was built to sell out.
That was kind of the point of the band, right?
Dumb motherfuckers. Do you think they entered it? Do you think the guy that was a former math teacher was like, you know what? I'm just going to quit all this and be a fucking band and not make money?
Not to make money.
Gene Simmons is a really good businessman, and he's done so by selling out repeatedly.
Yeah.
You might not like the guy, but he has a ton of money because he knows how to fucking sell a brand.
Also, I like Reload. Sue me.
Stop looking at corporations as your friend or people looking out for you.
If they could, they would sell you for the lint and small change in somebody else's pocket.
Absolutely.
And they probably do. They sell your information for pennies.
Yeah. Who cares? It's literally a box that sits in a hole in my entertainment center. I don't really care what.
But it's my box.
Yeah, it's
I
mine.
bought it.
Look at that box and go, man, I wish that box would fuck me.
I mean, you'd start to think that some of them want it to.
Oh god.
I wish my PlayStation would take its little oblong ass out here and take me to Frisco Town or something. I don't know.
You take me to Frisco Town. You've officially became an old man trying to sound hip.
I know. I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but I am an old man trying to sound hip. That's kind of my point now. I'm old. I don't give a fuck. All I know is that I want all of the video games, so give me all of the video games. Anyway, this was a fun conversation. Let's move on. We got an email from Antonio. He says, "Sup, fellas. I finally got around to playing Wolfenstein Youngblood, and you know what? I love that game. I can see why it got a lot of mixed reviews, but I am generally enjoying it. Game looks and plays fantastic on the X. You know what's crazy? The rumor of a Sony event on the 6th turned out to be true, but everything else about it was wrong. You are all familiar with the clown memes, right? Because that's what we all look like waiting for Sony and Microsoft to announce the price for their stupid-ass consoles. Off-topic question, you guys own any stock or cryptocurrency? I've been holding on to a few bits of crypto for the past 3 or 4 years. There's always been 3 or 4 cryptocurrencies such as Ripple that have always been prime suggestion by analysts in the hopes that it will eventually gain traction. I mean, you would think at some point one of these dirt cheap currencies has to start soaring up, right? Or is Bitcoin the only one that's ever going to be worth a damn?
I actually do follow stocks. I use Robinhood, and I own. This may bite me in the ass, but I own about 30 shares of Carnival Cruise Lines.
Oh no, that's not good.
I bought them at $7.80 a share, which was the lowest they've ever been.
Oh, you've bought them on the low right now.
Yes.
Got it.
And
okay. I thought you had bought before, and I was like, that's a bad news. It's not going to pay out, man.
Yeah, I know. As far as cryptocurrencies go, I have followed cryptocurrency for probably about 3 years. I think it's dying.
I don't even know what it is.
So cryptocurrency is basically blockchain technology, but it's literally a nothing. Like the problem with it is it's treated as if it is a currency and a commodity at the same time, and that doesn't work. So the issue is that, hey, there's only so much of this thing that's ever going to exist. So with Bitcoin, I don't remember the exact number, but like all the Bitcoin that's ever going to exist exists now, and it can only be divided. That's it.
What do you do with it?
But that's not true though, because you can mine for Bitcoin.
No, but Drew, when you mine it already exists. The idea is that when you mine it, you are taking a bit of this like pot that has not been fully,
What the fuck is it? Is it like little coin?
No,
I don't.
That's it.
It is a nothing. Digital. It's nothing. It's basically saying
It's the promise that this is going to be worth something because the only reason why it sells at all is that this is going to be a currency at some point. So get it now.
People are trying to use it, but they're not. Because
no one can use it anywhere. So it's this promise that this is going to be the next big thing.
Yes.
And it's not. It's never.
So you're buying volcano insurance in Ohio.
It's not even that. So here's what it is. So let's say I own a storefront, right?
Yeah.
And I say, you give me $20, and it's basically $20 credit for my storefront. But it's not just my storefront. It's a whole bunch of storefronts that are going to also accept this $20 credit. But nobody accepts the credit yet. They claim that it will be eventually.
This sounds like the biggest scam in the fucking history of the world.
It kind of is, but it has the potential to not be.
So here's the thing: it's anonymous based, right? Like there's no tracking. You have a wallet, you use the wallet. It doesn't say who transferred what. So it's hard. You can't track money, basically. The problem is that at one point it was a currency, and people had quite a bit of this currency. You could buy it from someone that mined it for, you could buy like 3 or 4 bitcoins or 10 bitcoins for $10. Whatever the exchange rate was at the time. Those people sat on it forever and are now out there going, I'm a millionaire. Well, not really.
If you sold it, you did.
Sold it. Well, but what I'm saying is, like, there's guys that showed up on Joe Rogan and been like, no, crypto's the future. I'm like, of course you're going to tell me crypto's the future. You invested in this nothing before.
And you're trying to make it go
now
up.
You're trying to convince people to buy into it. It makes your product worth more. But your product is fucking nothing. It's a promise that this is going to be worth something someday. It's a Ponzi scheme. For fuck's sakes.
Here's the deal. I personally know somebody who, I don't know how much he made, but I'm willing to bet he made at least $1 million. There was a guy who worked IT at my job. He was really big into technology and stuff like that. He loved talking to me because he found out I worked for a video game website and he liked video games. And this was probably back in 2009, 2010, 2011-ish. He would come and talk to me, and every time he talked to me, he says, Drew, have you ever heard this thing called Bitcoin? And I was like, no. He's like, yeah, I mine it. He's like, I have a couple of servers in my basement that mines it. I was like, okay. And he was trying to explain it to me, and I was just like, I don't get it, but whatever. One day in 2012, when did it spike? I can't remember exactly when it spiked.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Hang on a second. I'll just bring up my Robinhood here. One day in Bitcoin, there it is. In 2017, November of 2017, it hiked up to around $11,000 per coin. He didn't show up to work. He quit. I'm pretty sure he became like a millionaire because he had. I'm willing to bet he had at least probably 500 or 600 Bitcoin.
And here's the thing. At one point, again, it was a currency, and the problem is that if you were just buying into the Xbox points version of this that existed early on, it'd be one thing, but you are buying this to hopefully make real life money off of it now, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
But what I don't understand about all of this is you want to sell the fake coin for the real US dollars, but why if the fake coin is the future?
Exactly.
Right now, people are using it as a stock.
So basically, this is the modern snake oil.
Yes.
Okay, so don't buy it.
At one point in time, unless you're buying drugs off the internet, in which case this is actually something you should look into.
That is the thing I was going to say, is that because it is untraceable, there have been a lot of shady stuff that has been used for Bitcoin, like drug deals. Or human trafficking. I don't want to say that, but I mean,
so I can buy some cocaine with fake money.
I don't know.
It's real money because that person can convert it into real money because some idiot will buy it.
Yes.
I feel like I'm stupider.
Ken, there was a time when you had to buy points on Xbox.
Yeah, and it was dumb.
Yeah, imagine you could convert those points back to real money. So imagine you bought stuff from other users. You hadn't had to send them those points. They would then take those points, and they'd have to be able to convert it back. But what they do is they sell those points to someone else.
But in order to get those points to begin with, I need real money, which I'll continue to work on getting the real money.
But here's the thing. At one point, it's so hard to mine now that you can't.
It's
but
impossible.
At one point, you would just leave a computer running, and it would do math equations to break apart part of this big chunk, basically.
Chain block.
Yeah.
Okay.
blockchain. Yeah. And the problem is that other, coins or whatever the fuck you want to call it, can't ever compete because they haven't existed as long.
Yeah.
It's not as deep into the market. There's a couple that do fairly well, but
Litecoin.
But the thing is like, unlike buying stocks, like stocks are based on performance too of the company.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the reason why Drew can buy low stocks. Like Bitcoin just fluctuates because it does. Basically just pure interest in it. So it's a kind of a messy thing that doesn't make a lot of sense. At least to me. I know there's people that are like fanatical about it. But I to me, it's just like you are buying into the idea of something that you want to believe in so much that, yeah, it makes it more popular the more people you can convince. That's literally how like a pyramid or Ponzi scheme or, multi-level marketing works. The product doesn't really matter.
I keep thinking you're saying Ponzi scheme, and I'm having Happy Days flashbacks.
Sit on it.
So
Anyway,
I think I stumbled into a Twitter thread about console wars, and
well, my thing is, so if you want to put it into perspective, Ken, there was a controversial time, and I think it still happens sometimes, where Steam items, particularly Counter-Strike Go, Global Offensive, you could play the game and earn loot boxes that would then give you items that are actually worth something. You could sell or auction off in the Steam auction house.
sure.
People can pay real money to get that stuff. Well, there was a side project going on with a few websites that would purchase your stuff from Counter-Strike and then convert it into cash. They would pay you for the items and then sell them at a higher price somewhere else. It was almost like a digital black market. Now, Steam started cracking down on this stuff because A, it was technically gambling, and B, anybody of any age could do that. As long as you had a Steam account, and anybody can make a damn Steam account. And it's a lot like that. So it's basically a weird digital money laundering scheme.
I tell you what, if people put half as much effort into getting a job as they did dealing with this shit, man, this economy be booming.
Wow. But yeah, I do own some stock. I actually made a decent amount of money at one point a couple years ago. There was a company that is now defunct. They made a good amount of money. If you would have bought into Kodak about a month ago at like $2 a share, you would be making some nice chunk of change right now.
Well, yeah, because they just got paid a whole bunch of money from the government.
Yeah, they did. And they're looking into that because the stock started going up before they announced that.
Huh, shocking.
Which means somebody said something, which is what they call insider trading.
Yeah, I'm aware of all that, but it don't matter if you're in the government because then they just forget about it.
It's true.
Anyways, sorry, we've been off on tangents there.
I just feel old and decrepit.
Okay.
And I'm going to continue to just work for real money.
If anybody is interested in Robinhood, I have a Robinhood account, and if you want to get a free stock,
God!
You can use my code.
We're not doing the Uber shit. Come on now.
No.
You can use my code, and I will get a free stock, and you'll get a free stock, and we'll both make money.
Jesus
Just
Christ,
DM me, and I will give you my code.
Podcast ad that only helps Drew.
It only helps me. We're not shills. You're helping out a poor man who works 60 hours a week.
Chill.
At least he's not a paying shill.
I'm not a paying shill. I'm not spending my money and saying I like this. You have to give me money, and I'll say I like it.
I really like Whoppers, especially when I buy one.
All right.
Yeah.
We can't go into food talk. All right.
We'll get there. Twitter. This is from last week, Anthony. We're not here. This question was
I know
directed.
the question. I listened. The two tube televisions that I have. I don't know the exact models. I apologize. I can't even give you the size. I'm going to say one of them is a 16-inch Curtis that has a DVD player built in. And that one actually has a really good view or a screen. Like, I'm surprised. I also have a Trinitron that's heavy as shit. I need the RGB cable. It has the input on the back. I don't know if it's SCART or not. It sure looks like a SCART cable, but I don't think it is. It's got a really dark image on it though, and I can't seem to get it to work. It might need to be degaussed. I don't know if it's in. It's pretty old. I also have a third one technically that's in my Sega Saturn store display, but like it's so small that I'm not even counting. Also, to answer the question of hidden gems last week too, because I was again listening. I have a couple for the Wii. I know that's something that most people won't go back to, but Super Paper Mario, a lot of people looked at. That is the best Mario game, I think. It is super dark. It has all the RPG trappings of Paper Mario, but it plays like a platformer, and it's got a ton of puzzles. It has a ton of content. You can pick that up for like $20 now, if not less, and it's worth every penny. But it's got like one of the most dark stories, like, and disturbing stuff, like body horror and stuff. Like, I'm surprised that that's a Nintendo game. The Darkness on 360 and PS3.
Darkness.
It's one of my favorite first-person shooters.
That game's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The only thing that gets annoying is that Joey Estacato's lips never move whenever he talks. It just looks so weird.
I love that game. Don't ruin it for me, Drew.
Also, Faith No More's lead singer is The Darkness.
Yeah.
Yes. Mike Patton.
There you
Mike
go.
Patton.
He was also
This is epic, man.
he's also in another game, The Suffering.
Yeah.
He played the villain in The Suffering.
He's in a couple games. Wasn't he the voiceover for like one of the shitty games we played last year?
Oh man,
Was he Damnation?
Damnation. He was in Damnation.
I think so.
Oh, that game
Yeah.
is so bad.
That game's horrible.
Give me a second. I'm double checking because I have a few, but then I'm like, maybe he was. I thought he was in another. Darkness 2, of course. Edge of Twilight. Left 4 Dead. Oh no, sorry, I'm wrong. It was Bionic Commando. He's Nathan.
Did he play his wife's? Never mind.
No, he was Nathan Brad Spencer.
He's also the Anger Sphere in Portal.
I just can't get over it. I don't give a fuck about spoilers, but the fact that his arm is his wife. Come on,
That is the dumbest
Come
shit.
on, man.
It is dumb, but I like that game.
Yeah, that game is fine, but that's just dumb.
I'll quickly run through the parts of this list. It's not the best game ever, but Dark Sector. That glaive is still pretty awesome.
That
And you
game's
can get it
fine.
for like $5, so it's like dirt cheap and it's worth every dollar. Astra's Wrath. I love that game.
I didn't like that game that
love
much.
that game. 3D Dot Game Heroes.
That's a
one-
good
Yeah,
one.
that game's good.
It's
No,
more expensive.
Majin
Yeah,
in the
but-
Forsaken Kingdom.
That's a beautiful game.
That's a great game.
The rest of these are like PS2, Xbox, GameCube stuff. Whiplash. I love that.
Oh, that game is not.
It's got a good sense of humor.
It does.
It's sort of Metroid-y in the way it's set up. It's confusing at one part, like where you kind of keep doing the same area by accident if you're not careful. But it even had the 3D sort of Metroid Prime map. I've already mentioned Spy Fiction 100 times, so play that game. Shinobi.
Oh,
PS2 Shinobi
Yeah.
is fan-fucking-tastic. The music is killer, too. I'm just kind of going through my list right now. Pitfall: The Lost Expedition is a game no one talks about. And it is a 3D platformer, again, with that sort of Metroid setup, but there's a ton, and also a ton of puzzles. Really good sense of humor, and they never did anything with 3D Pitfall again, except reissue this game on the Wii with one of the worst covers I've ever seen.
Pitfall is going to make a comeback in 2021.
But
highly doubt
I mean, it's kind of he's got that Nathan Drake attitude before Nathan Drake, and I love that game. I think it's extremely well done. There's some weird stuff that like is kind of experimental now, but like, yeah. So,
I've
I
got
really
one-
hate the Tomb Raider ripped off Uncharted. So horrible.
If you have a Game Boy Color, I'm going to give you a gem that I think nobody ever played this game. It's called Power Quest. It is basically a Street Fighter ripoff, but with fighting robots.
Super fighting robot.
Yeah, it's an okay game, but just go listen to the soundtrack. The soundtrack is phenomenal. Power Quest is amazing.
Power Quest.
Scarface, a game that no one talks about because Godfather like eclipsed it at the same because they released around the same time.
Yeah.
Dude, that was like one of the last games released for the original Xbox and PS2, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it got ported to the Wii.
Oh,
The
God.
World is Yours, I believe is what it's called, right?
Yeah. Graffiti Kingdom, which is
I remember that game.
it's a game where you can draw your own characters.
Yeah, everybody
It's
just drew a
clunky.
big dick.
You
It's
just made me
clunky.
think of Mark Echo's. I always say getting it up.
Yeah.
That game was not bad.
It wasn't. It wasn't bad.
Can't wait
Wasn't
for
it made
the
by
new
the
Nordic.
Collective?
Was it made by the Collective?
I thought it was. The same studio that made Buffy and the Indiana Jones game, and
Did they do the Evil Dead game as well?
they might have. I remember the Mark Echo game was the game you laughed at, but then you played it and you're like, it's not bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
I just made fun of the title. It's actually called Get Up.
yeah, it's just get up, but you
But
always
I've
like
always
getting
called
it
it
up. Mark
getting it
Echo's
up.
getting it up.
Jesus Christ. A game no one knows about, Gadget Racers.
I
It's a
remember
racing
that game.
You're the only person that has ever recognized that game. But Gadget Racers is a Koro Q game where you can put gadgets on your cars. So, like, you can fly, like, hang glide if you take certain jumps. Putting, like, pontoons on your car make it float. But you can also drive at the bottom of the water and put, like, a little propeller on. There's some really neat stuff in that game, and it is not talked about in the slightest. Star Fox Assault for GameCube. And no, it's a Star Fox game, but I feel like this is the one that's not talked about. Everybody talks about Adventures. Star Fox Assault is very good. And a weird racing game, but it's got a big fucking difficulty curve. Sonic Riders. I love that game.
I
That is a
love that
very hard game to get good at. It's very punishing in the beginning, and by the time you're done that game, like, you will be grinding the fucking CPU characters into the ground. I love that game, and then they have the challenges that you have to do to unlock certain characters, and fuck, that are super hard. And then I realized after I have two others that are like, one's a Game Boy Advance game called Boktai 2.
Oh yeah, Bokeh.
It's I'd emulate that one because otherwise you have to stand in the sun. But it's basically Metal Gear Solid from like an isometric perspective mixed with Zelda, and you kill vampires, and that's pretty awesome. And then the DS game, Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime, which I've talked about before, I'm sure. There's some
Alright.
hidden gems. Yep.
Curtis wants to know, what's up, fellas? Been reading a lot of tweets complaining, saying Sony shouldn't have released Horizon Zero Dawn on PC because it has been cracked. I think they're upset because it's a Sony IP and that's why they're highlighting it. Is there any data showing piracy hurts games sales?
I mean, piracy, the only data I can give you is piracy really hurt the Dreamcast.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, like, at this point, like, codes that are stolen hurt, like, with, like, stolen credit cards and stuff, hurt game developers more than just people straight up stealing.
Yeah, I think piracy is a very different. Excuse me, it's a very different thing now than it was back in the CD burning days. I don't know. It's like people download stuff, and it's such a pain in the ass to play because so many games are connected. So many games require like updates and things that you can't get if you've got, a legal copy of the game or something.
And Steam's whole policy, or whatever you want to call it, was make games accessible and cheap enough that piracy is harder for most. So, games go on sale for dirt cheap on PC for a reason.
Yeah.
So, they've made their money off of Horizon on the PS4, and I'm sure this is just a little bit of extra money that they had to put in to get it on PC, and they'll probably receive that back. So I have not heard about the cracking, but I'm also not.
Yeah, I don't even keep up with that stuff anymore. The only stuff I look into is like classic games, which are so easy to do now that it's just. And I get that market because like a lot of that shit is really hard to find. It's super expensive. Having the hardware to play it is complicated. It's just, I don't know. He also says thanks for the game suggestions last week and this week as well, I'm sure. Flo617 says, I don't get the controversy over Spider-Man being exclusive for the PS4 Avengers. We've had exclusive characters in games before. I bought Starlink with their generic characters while the Switch got to use Star Fox. If a company has leverage over a character, why not use it? That's the thing. Sony doesn't own Spider-Man.
They bought it.
They paid for that Spider-Man. And yes, I will tell you I was pissed at Namco for a long time. Because if you remember Soul Calibur 4, Yoda was on Xbox and Darth Vader was on PlayStation. Remember that?
That
Yes.
was weird. That didn't make any sense to me, but yeah.
Eventually you could get them on both, but it was like way after the fact.
And now you can't get them at all.
Yeah, unless you bought it then you can still download it. But yeah, that shit sucked then and it sucks now. Like I don't one of the things that really irritates me about this argument is people are like, why are we talking about this now? It's like, because we should have always be talking about it. Just because it was, it's happened before doesn't mean that it's okay now. Things should get better. Like, think about how cool it is that. Look at crossplay as an example. Like, so many people for so many years were like, we're never going to get it, we're never going to get it, we're never going to get it. Then we get it, and when a company doesn't do it, they're like, well, we didn't have it before. It's like, yeah, but we do now. And crossplay is good for games. Because if you've got a game that's on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Switch, those communities are going to shrink over time. But if they're crossplay, then all those communities come together, and it makes the community that much bigger in a game. So, just because something has happened in the past doesn't give it an excuse to happen now. They used to charge you for memory cards. Controllers used to have wires. So you're telling me if the PlayStation 5 controller was wired, you wouldn't have a problem with that because that's happened in the past? No. You'd have a problem with it because things have gotten better. And you want things to continue to get better. Mookie says, I've been playing Deep Rock Galactic, and I think it's an amazing game for those who enjoy Left 4 Dead games. I've heard a lot of people talk about this game. I played it when it was in early access and didn't really get into it, but then again, it is definitely you need people to play it with. You know what I mean? And I don't have friends anymore. At least the ones I have don't play video games online. We all got codes for Rocket Arena, and we never played it.
Nope.
And now it's free. Holy shit. I saw it in my EA Access library this weekend, and I was like, well, that was quick. Dustin wants to know, are we going to miss load times? The perfect opportunity to grab a snack or a drink or check the text you received during that boss fight. Are we going to miss them?
Oh,
I check my phone so goddamn much. Load times.
it depends on what it is.
I really only notice them when they're like stupid long. But I get the point that he's coming across with, because when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, like that game loads so fucking fast that like I would pick up my phone when I get to a loading screen, and before I even had the bitch unlocked, it was loaded.
You know what takes a while to load?
A lot of stuff.
True.
Call of Cthulhu.
Goddamn right.
And if you fail a section, you gotta sit to that loading screen again, and then it doesn't even start. You have to hit a button to enter madness.
Gotta hit a button to enter madness.
Yep. So yeah, there's certain ones. If there's a load screen after you die, and you die a lot in a game, you could say, "Well, get good, sucker," but then it still gets annoying.
Yeah, it is frustrating. Like, one of the things that made Trial so good was its instant loading.
Yes.
Like, that's what hooked that game. Whereas a game that takes, like, even if it's like 15 to 20 seconds and you die a lot, it really wears that loop out.
Yep.
So, but yeah, as far as like an open world game, like when you boot up Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto, like to play it, and you have to sit there for like 3 minutes or something until the game loads.
Yeah.
Like that.
And then
shit
dying
sucks.
in Red Dead, you have to sit there and for a while and come back.
Yep. I hate any game that when I die I have to wait a long time to get back into the game.
Yeah.
So Control had a problem with checkpointing like that, where it didn't take long to get back into the game, but it would always put you somewhere like way the fuck back that you had to walk forever to get back to where you were.
Great.
So that is something I had a problem with in Control. But I mean, it loaded fine. I think a lot of the games that I play regularly, I load onto my SSD, so I get the fastest loading that I possibly can. But
It won't be a problem with the new systems.
well, the problem with the new systems will be that you run out of fucking space every 5 minutes because they've got fucking terabyte, and PS5 even less. Was PS5 got like 800 gigabytes?
Had they confirmed that outside hard drives work?
So Microsoft is using proprietary Seagate terabyte cards at launch. You can still use a standard platter or whatever hard drive for the Series X, but you won't get the loading benefits. With Sony, you have to have a specific NVMe drive to
Okay.
plug it in. Which, if you've priced NVMe drives, you're probably just going to have to deal with that 800 gigabytes for a while.
So I've got a 2 terabyte standalone hard drive sitting here connected to my Xbox One X.
You will still be able to use that, but you won't get the loading benefits, obviously.
I mean, that's not going to bother me too much.
But
That's 2 terabytes extra.
that is a good question. I know it works for 360 original Xbox and Xbox One, but does that old hard drive work with Xbox Series X, like games that are only on, you know what I mean, only on Series X?
I would assume. Wouldn't they specify that when they announced this?
I don't know, because I don't know of many games that are only on Series X. You know what I mean? Like Cyberpunk, like Halo Infinite is coming to Series X, but it's also on Xbox One.
Oh, isn't like the next 2 years of games going to be on both systems?
Well, their first-party games will, but third-party companies can make games that are only for Series X.
Yeah.
Let me
I guess only
see.
time will tell.
I'm going to give you a price of an NVMe SSD. I don't even think you can buy one that's like a plug and play. But like, what we got here? 500 gigabytes, $70.
So mine's not a SSD, obviously.
Yes, that one will
2
still.
terabytes.
That'll still plug into your Series X, and you can load stuff on it. I think and you probably need to like dig into this deeper. I think you can store stuff on there, but if it's Series X only, you have to load it over into the main drive before you can play it.
Great.
I don't know exactly. I know Xbox One, Xbox 360, and original Xbox games can sit on that hard drive, and you can play them from it.
Okay.
But I think Series X games, if it's only for Series X, you have to be running it on their NVMe storage. So, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Of course, who knows? We might not find out till next year because we're not even going to get the price till we go to buy it.
Are they coming out this year?
I mean, supposedly, right? It's August 9th, so at this point we are literally about 3 months away from these consoles coming out, at the latest.
I would assume they're not going to be in December.
No, well, they're going to be before Black Friday, full show.
So I'm assuming the last week in October then.
I still think we're looking at, so I'm going to pull up my calendar here. I still think, what is the date?
Today's the
November
9th.
17th. November 17th, I think, is the release date for one of them.
So you don't think they're going to release the exact same day?
No, I do not.
You think it'll be like a week apart?
Yeah, they'll be a week apart, just like they were last time. I think the PlayStation will come out first, and then the Xbox will come out the week after. I think that's my guess. And I'm only basing that on the way it happened last time. The PS4 launched 1 week, and then the Xbox One launched the week after. So if one of them's on the 17th, the other one has to be the week of the 10th. Because Black Friday is the 27th, and they're not going to launch it the week of Black Friday. They're going to want it out before then.
So are you pre-ordering it?
Yes, I have not decided where yet, though.
I'm probably going to go with Amazon, but the way Amazon is acting lately.
Yeah, I thought about doing the Series X through the Microsoft Store, but I don't know what their delivery stuff is like.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about the Xbox Store is I can literally order it through my Xbox.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, I'm not going to lie.
You got that new one, the new beta version?
No, I do not get into the betas anymore because I'm a power user, so every time I log into it, it fucks up my external hard drive, my 8 terabyte. So I don't even fuck with the beta. I want that new store so bad, though. That new store looks fucking awesome. Like, it's the first time I've said that about a game store, because right now all three of them suck really bad.
Yeah.
Like, anytime I have to go to the PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, or Xbox stores, I'm always like, ugh. Ugh. Stores are just awful. That is it for the Twitter, though. If you have any tweets that you want to shoot at us every week, it is at N4G Podcast. You can follow us. Drew is at Drew Leachman. I am at ZTGD. And you can follow the site at ZTGD Content. Phoenix Down, Call of Cthulhu. I like saying that word, Cthulhu.
Yeah, we're wrapping up Call of Cthulhu next week. Or this week, I should say.
Thank God.
You guys don't like that game?
I don't.
I think it's okay.
I started it, but I never dug into
I think it's a 5.
Well, excuse me.
It starts off at like an 8, and then it just keeps like I'm like, what am I playing this for? You know, at this point, like I don't feel like I have any age in it. They could turn me. Listen, it has time to turn me around still. I'm in the lull. I understand, but every time it tries to be a game, I'm like, hey, I actually hate this.
I've got 2 of those kind of Cthulhu-ish games that in my backlog. That one and
Sinking City.
Yeah,
Sinking City is a better game.
I started that. And
It's a jankier game.
Yeah, it's very janky, but I like what it's doing. Call of Cthulhu, I didn't play a whole bunch of.
It's a way more interesting title. I think there's too much of it.
like I think it should be a smaller open world, but the shooting felt good in it. It has some really fucked up shit in it.
Oh,
That's what I need.
Those 2 games are on my list to play at some point. And then, what are you guys doing after Cthulhu?
We are doing the Boy Simulator.
Boys.
Oh, God of War.
I'm doing God of War.
Holy shit, you guys are in for a treat. What a way to come up. Oh man, that game is so good.
I want to say I don't hate Call of Cthulhu. I'm like, I don't want to go back to it because I feel like I'm being forced to play it and there's no enjoyment.
Well, we've only got like 4 chapters left.
I know.
But yeah,
I need to play some new games. I need to play some old new games is what I need to do.
I'll tell you a game that is in the Cthulhu mythos that was actually surprisingly good, Mag Runner.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I know. I need to play that still.
Oh, Mag Runner is really cool. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say a spoiler because it happens in like the first 2 hours, but it starts off as like this televised Portal type game show. And then you find out what's really going on, and they're trying to summon freaking Cthulhu. It's actually kind of awesome.
See, this is why I don't understand people getting mad on the internet. There are just too many fucking games to play, and most of them are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Mag Runner was actually really cool.
I think I might own that somewhere.
It's given away for free so often.
I know, that's why I figure I've got to own it somewhere, right? It's crazy how many games I've got laying around.
You've played it because I remember when I reviewed it, you were talking about it with me.
Okay, well, maybe I have played it, and I just don't. There's too many fucking video games.
Yeah.
And I got Battletoads coming up soon. I can't wait.
It's Rash, People, and Zits.
I don't care. I love that fucking. It's been 26 years, Anthony. Fuck off.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm ready for some fucking Battletoads. Oh, I can't wait.
I wonder if it's actually going to be as hard as it was.
I've heard it's pretty hard.
Okay.
So, we'll see.
Oh, man, I forgot to bring up that the fucking Intellivision Miko is delayed. The thing's never coming in.
I mean, I like I was telling everybody and you guys, like, I wanted a Polymega, but now we're into new consoles, so that's not happening. I'm not going to buy an Amico.
But it's going to come out in May for like $300.
Yeah, no.
What the absolute shit are you fucking going for now?
No, I'm good.
Like, oh my god.
I need to buy a Series X this fall, and if I don't get a PS5 this fall, I'll be getting one in the spring. So, those are my next 2 purchases. So, there's that. And then I'm sure Nintendo's going to announce something next year, right? Kind of have to, right?
They haven't announced anything in a while.
Well, I mean a new system. I think. I think it announces next year. I think. Anyway, that's it for the show. Unless anybody has anything else. If not, we will get out of here. All right. Well, peace out, bitches.
Alrighty, and it goes something like this.
Epic fail. Welcome to the N4G podcast. Oh, you can...
It's me, Mario.
$0.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
Gather time.
Greetings, programs. I got lost trying to find my way to the secret underground N4G Radio lair.
The Wombat. And
I always live being angry.
Killer Wolverine. Play games, not consoles. No fanboys allowed.
And then I killed the dragon.
Killed the dragon.